I, again, had no idea what I was getting myself into, where we were going. And I am so glad now that I'm on the other side of it. Woo! Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Love, Loss, and Hallucinations, where I start with those three themes and just kind of see where the conversation takes us. Today's episode, wow, I'm not really sure what I'm getting myself into today. So this one, without knowing where it's going, it might be better to watch on YouTube. Just going to throw that out there. But my guest, the second person to be on a second time besides Tiffany, my wife. My guest is Marisa Radha Weppner, and she was way back in episode 8, my guest. She is a somatic and psychedelic therapist and a yoga and meditation instructor who lives in Boise, Idaho. And last time when she was on, we talked about the importance of self-compassion, her work as a ketamine therapist, some of the challenges around using psychedelics for our own personal growth and healing, shadow work, as well as Radha meeting and hanging out with and receiving a name from none other than Ram Dass. So, hi, Radha. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Scott. It's really, really great to be here again. Thank you.
It's lovely that you agreed to be back on. And how this came about is actually at the end of that episode, which we recorded pretty much a year ago now, even though it came out a little later. Radha threw out this suggestion. She's like, would you ever want to do like a session online and we can record that and see where that goes? And I was like, that sounds interesting. Yeah. And it's been in the back of my mind for the last year. So here we are. And yeah, don't know where this is going to go. Radha, I don't think you have done something. Well, you've done these sessions on Zoom before, yes?
Yes, I see a lot of folks on Zoom, for sure.
Yeah.
But we don't record them and we don't make them public.
Yeah. So
very brave of you to be vulnerable in this way. Because like you said, you don't know. I have no idea where this will go. And I just put it out there. I guess last year we were maybe talking more about my work once we finished.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came up. So kind of a spontaneous idea, an inspiration, which I like to sometimes follow when I can, the creative impulse.
Yeah. And like I said, it's been just kind of every month or so, I'm like, oh, I still want to kind of get back to that. And now that we're here, I'm like, do I really want to do this and put it out there? But as you said, it's all about vulnerability. And that's what this podcast is really, when you get down to it, all about. And
have you seen, I'm thinking of like one of the first times I saw someone do therapeutic work publicly. And it was like 2009. I went to go see Byron Katie talk. Are you familiar with the work in Byron Katie?
Yeah. But maybe you can give the listeners a little more intel on Byron in case they aren't as familiar, or just kind of her key.
Yeah, she has a process called the work so it's a pretty straightforward formula of like 4 steps. It's been a while since I've used it, so I might get it slightly wrong. But what I remember of it now is very clear steps. And so I was actually in Seattle at the UW in one of the auditoriums, and she explained her work, and then she just had various people come up from the audience that I don't think are plants, that just were regular humans. And they would start by, I don't know how they would start, but somehow they would get into a problem that they were having. And in Byron Katie's process, she has people flip it. So if it's like, for example, Scott is so mean to me, I would flip it and say, I'm so mean to Scott.
Interesting.
And then everything that is flipped on its head, and you kind of unpack things in this way where you're taking things on versus projecting. And what I saw happen was really cathartic, powerful, vulnerable ahas for the folks that she was working with.
Huh. That sounds, and so was she broadcasting this out of the room too, or is just it's live in front of someone?
Oh, it was all live. We were all live. This is before that kind of thing was broadcast.
Oh.
This is back in 2009. I didn't even have an iPhone then. you know,
Back in the day, right?
back
Oh my
in
God.
the day. Back in the day. I'm like, do I have her book around here somewhere? I've got it somewhere. So she's just like a classic, kind of like we think of Esther Perel, maybe parallel to that in the different lanes, but very powerful women. And then did you ever watch the Wisdom of Trauma movie with Gabor Mate?
I did. Yeah.
So I got that. I bought it, during the pandemic when it first came out online. What was that, like 5 years ago, 4 years
Something
ago?
like that,
and it's been sitting in my email. And just last week, I watched it.
No way.
Yeah, I finally watched it last week. And in it, if for folks that have seen it, he does it a little bit too. Like he meets with different people and he's doing therapeutic processing on screen. And I was actually quite struck by the similarities we have in the ways that we work. Because
you and Gabor
and I haven't read any of his books, and I've been sitting on that documentary. I've never seen him speak. He's just been in the fields, he's very kind of popular in the field. And so I know of his work, and I know that he has work that people respect a lot.
Yeah. The Myth of the Normal is an amazing book.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only book of his I've read, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I look forward to diving into it more now that I finally watched the documentary. But, so if you've seen it, it's not unsimilar to how he talks with people, but we are different too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see where it all goes then. Yeah. The only other example I can think of is I remember listening every now and then. I listened to a Tim Ferriss podcast, and this particular one, he was talking to somebody who was like an expert in internal family systems, IFS. And so the guy took him just through a short, like 10-minute experience like that. And even in 10 minutes, he was like, boom.
Which is funny because Tim Ferriss was in Gabor's movie also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's all
he had like a micro moment with Tim in the movie where he goes through just a little thing with him, and he really gets it. So internal family systems is blended into the way that I work too. I read several books on it, and I'm maybe this is good or bad, but I find that I am a self-taught learner too. So I haven't been trained in IFS, like technically. But I use a lot of the overarching theories in the work come up, which are in other systems too.
They are. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Through my outdoor coaching or nature-based coaching thing that I did, there was a version. They wouldn't call it. It's definitely a little different than internal family systems, but again, there's similar waves through there.
Yeah, a lot of crossover in the healing world between people.
Is.
Kind of like with music or arts or anything, there's overlays and similarities and themes that emerge in a collective way.
Well, why don't, before we get into it, without getting into what each point is of what you have blended together, what you will be blending together here, like maybe just do a little overview of kind of your approach and the various things that it weaves together, and then we can kind of unpack it more on the other side.
You got it. Well, I have a bachelor's in psychology, and my master's is transpersonal psychology, which is, you could loosely define as spiritual psychology. It's a psychology and it's the fourth wave of psychology in the US. It's like the psychology that honors having some connection to our inner world is what will help us all be balanced humans. That's a necessary pillar to our existence. And so it can look so many different ways for people, but the main point is that something is there for them in their worldview and sense of self, but also honors altered state experiences, peak experiences, the unseen, different world religions, trance states, all mind-body connections, all of it.
Yeah.
And so I did that in the early 2000s, my master's. And then I was also at the same time a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. And then I moved to Boise in 2009 and opened a studio here. And so running a studio really became my main focus. But I had come to yoga actually out of not physical fitness or body or even the idea of wellness at all. It was a spiritual path for me where I was trying to understand the nature of consciousness. And then I found yoga, and I found that yoga was really helpful.
Trying to understand consciousness. I'm reading Michael Pollan's new book on consciousness right now, and I'm just like, it's like, whoa. Cool.
Yeah, I haven't read that, but that's great that he put that together because he's such a wonderful, he synthesizes very well. So just to say, for me, like, yoga was a psychological self-development tool. And that's what I was teaching in my studio from 2010 to 2020. But kind of, I would call it the sneak attack. Like, people would come to a yoga class thinking that they're coming for fitness or health or body. But that's not what I was teaching. Yes, we're moving in asanas and postures and breathing, but it's about the self and understanding the nature of the self. And then my studio had to close with the pandemic, surprisingly, like a lot of businesses did. I never anticipated my studio closing. But backing up a little bit too, my own awakening occurred when I took LSD at 15, very, 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 very unprepared. And it was a complete shamanic death. So that's what initiated my quest for what is the nature of consciousness. Because I was trying to integrate and put myself back together as a teenager, though I didn't have the word integration at all. So psychedelics were a thread throughout my life from the time I was 15. Even when I was studying transpersonal psychology, it was in there. But I never anticipated we were going to get to the place that we are now with psychedelics. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I thought it was always going to be underground.
No. Likewise.
And so 2009, it came into my awareness that ketamine therapy 2019, that ketamine therapy was actually a thing. And I had my first ketamine therapy session in late 2019. And it just came through in that session, like, you can do this. This is what you love. This is a gateway for you to work with people in this deeper way. And so I started working on that at that time, and then fast forward to my studio closing, and then it coincidentally aligned with the month my studio closed was the same month I led my first group ketamine therapy session. And so then I just, like, this one door open, one door closed, one door open, this like pretty miraculous, unplanned life transition occurred. And when I started to guide ketamine therapy, it was really humbling. And it felt so sacred. And I felt very equipped to do it also because of my years as a yoga teacher and meditation teacher, which for me is, ritual, spiritualized practice of the sacred.
Learning presence as well.
Yeah, and holding sacred space. But I also realized I needed a little bit more work with helping folks heal trauma. I was like, I want a little bit more guidance in this. So I explored Phoenix Rising yoga therapy, and I did like level 1 through their training. And then I considered going back for like a somatic psychology, something. And then I actually was studying online. Again, all this great online stuff came through the pandemic, but with Thomas Hubel. Are you familiar with Thomas Hubel?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
He's so fantastic. Healing Collective Trauma is his work. And he is amazing. And in one of the trainings with him, a woman came on to guide a practice in somatic experiencing. That was my first somatic experiencing practice, was on the computer. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
So she was guiding everyone else.
She was guiding
you.
globally. Like it was like thousands of people globally in this online training through just like a body movement practice.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like was a light bulb for me. I'm like, oh, what is this? And so then I looked into that, and it's the work of Peter Levine, Waking the Tiger is his book. And then so that's what I joined, was a 3-year somatic experiencing practitioner training.
Wow.
And the very first training with that, I describe it as just like a key and a lock, where it was like totally opened up how I can help folks work through their trauma through their body.
Wow.
So it was so exciting. And then started doing that, just right away. And so now I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner. And then in that too, like the IFS piece, the internal family system, somewhere that got woven in as well. And also really clicked and made sense. And so what I do, I actually like to start people, at least in our first session, with the form of a meditation that I learned while studying with Thomas Hubel. So it's a variation of a meditation that he leads. And then it's just tracking through the body and where the body's going and offering presence. Often it goes into inner child work, which like dovetails with IFS and has visualization components and retrievals. And yeah. So
Wow.
it's kind of like that.
And it's all come together. And where does shadow work weave into this at all?
Yeah, shadow work does. And I define shadow work as what we're not aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what we're not aware of can be things that we've unconsciously repressed or don't remember or didn't quite feel, that maybe live in ourselves still, but also treasures, like wonderful parts of our personality, wonderful parts of who we're meant to be in our dharma that we felt like we couldn't be for whatever reason. So it's the reclaiming of self and integrating. So shadow work I think of as integration too, where it could be positive or negative, but it's pieces of yourself that you've abandoned for some reason.
Yeah.
And you might
usually
not even be aware of.
Needing to survive or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So bringing those in and having them integrate into who you are in whatever way that looks like.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now here we are.
Yeah. No more dilly-dallying, Scott. Yeah. No more delaying.
I've been putting it off for a year. That's right. I'm like, Radha's coming for me.
Hey, but you reached out,
I did.
And you said, hey, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
And so
it's very similar to like about to do a psychedelic journey, where like, yeah, that sounds great. I am in. I want to learn all about that. And then the day of, you're like, what am I doing? Do I really want to do this,
Actually, I'm really tired right now. Yeah. If I just had a good sleep.
Stop recording. Yeah.
I feel the same.
No. Yeah.
Same thing happens.
So, no, I am totally down and really intrigued to see where this all goes here in the next bit as we dive in. So, I guess I will just become a client right now, and you can guide me. Start your engines.
Okay. Well, again, just thanks for saying yes and showing up. And think of it like play. It's a creative act, and we'll see. I'll be gentle, I promise. Well, we're playing together.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But this, like I described, this drop-in, that's a flavor of Thomas Hubel. So let's do it together.
Okay.
Or you can close your eyes if you'd like. I like to, because it then takes me more inward, and I want to have an inner experience. And begin to just follow your breath. And as we move through this practice, it's from a place of witness consciousness, where you're observing without judging whatever you observe as good or bad or trying to change it. So like when you watch your breath right now, your breath just is. You just feel it in and out, flowing through your nose. You might also feel your body in your seat. As you watch your breath, simply observe how your body responds to the fact that you're breathing. That could be the rise and fall of your chest or your abdomen, or movement in the shoulders or throat. The quality of air as it passes through your nostrils. Just watching. And as you take yourself into your body, now just pay attention to anywhere that you might describe in your body as feeling pleasant. And that might be defined as open, soft, flow, warm, tingly, loose, wherever's pleasant in your body. And your attention could be in one place, or it could travel around to many pleasant places. You're just with those spaces. And then shift now to anywhere in your body that it might feel unpleasant sensations, pain, tight, obstructed, queasy, blocked, however you define unpleasant. And you're simply with that place or those places. Nothing to do or change. And we all tend to have areas of our body that feel not like nothing, that are blank or void, where we don't get a read or signal, or our attention seems to skip around. So if you have a place like that, just hold your awareness with or around that space. Again, not trying to make anything happen, just be with it. And let it be exactly as it is. You have full permission for your body to be exactly as it is in this moment. And then leaving the body, and go into your internal mood in this moment. How do you feel? And you just observe. You don't need to know why. There doesn't need to be a story. You don't have to understand. And you may notice you have like a high level emotional state that's obvious, but there may be more subtler emotions underneath it or with it. You maybe even have conflicting emotions. Just allow every dimension of your emotional experience to be present as it is. Then turn your attention another layer further inward to your thoughts, and you witness your thoughts like watching a movie on a screen. So it's, what is the content of your mind right now? And it could go anywhere at all. As you watch the content and you observe it, your only response is something like, "Isn't that interesting?" Just see it. As you watch your thoughts, observe also the quality of your thinking minds. Are your thoughts chaotic and clustered and random? Are they singular and spacious? Are they judgmental? Are they curious? Are they anxious? Are they hopeful? What's it like? What are they like? Whatever it is, allow every dimension of your experience to be present precisely as it is. And now, going even another layer further in, try to identify with the part of you that this whole time has been the observer, that is the witness and awareness, your I am presence that you are, that has thoughts and emotions and breath and body, but what you are not those things. And allow yourself to identify more and more with that deeper inner space you might call higher self or soul, consciousness, source. Just be in it, with it, as it. And you're noticing how that feels when you're in this space inside of yourself. And in your own time, you'll guide this quality of presence that you are back down into your body and into your heart, and just touch into your own heart. Make contact. And as we're here together today, inviting the heart's wisdom, your own heart's wisdom and guidance to be with you like it always is. Now the door is wide open. And even right now, there may be something the heart wants you to remember or feel or know. Just listen. Thanking the heart for its guidance, its gentle care. Return to the awareness of your breath, making it a bit stronger and fuller now. And then your next breath in, breathe in, and you can sigh out through your mouth and blink your eyes open as you do. And take your eyes to your space and just look around. Look around your room that you're in and see all the objects, all your things around you. And find one thing to let your eyes rest on in your space as you turn and look right and left. Find one thing to look at that is for you either pleasant or neutral at least, and just see that thing. Take it in great detail. And we'll come back together. So, Scott, we can enter anywhere you like. It could be what's alive right now, a challenge you've had recently, some aspect of yourself that you would like to explore a little further.
So many options. Well, I feel like something like my birthday was the beginning of this month, and something I was wanting to open the door more to in this next year was just kind of joy in general, expressing it, showing it, having it. it had started to feel like, just like with everything happening in the world, it was just like kind of getting down and down and down, and sort of like building up some sort of wall between me and the joy. So yeah, if that sounds like a place to start, I don't know. Yeah.
So understandably, through this past year, it's been heavy. Is that right?
Yeah. And not like necessarily internal, like close circles, just like the greater world in general.
Yes, which we are a part of.
Yes.
But your life is good. Your relationships are good. But the weight of what's going on right now in our culture and in the collective, it's destabilizing. And it's disconnected you from joy, your joy. Or maybe even like, and I can understand this, I think a lot of us are feeling what I hear from you, which is like, is it okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
While there's so much suffering and so much work to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. Between, the environment and government stuff, and then just like being a man right now, like it's
a white man with privilege,
a white
no less.
man with privilege, and it is,
okay,
it gets heavy.
So right here, Scott, as you're sharing this with me, if you were to just tune into your body, what do you feel? Just describe sensation. And I'll help you.
Yeah. I mean, just a general tension, particularly in like my quads and my chest.
So if you were to pick one of those spots, your quads or your chest, to focus on, which would it be?
Surprisingly, it seems that my quads are wanting more attention.
Okay, you can be surprised. So feel your quads. Is it both equally, right and left? And then the heaviness, this tension that you said is there, give the tension qualities like color or texture or shape or a way it moves. What's it like?
Right now it's looking brown, and I'm just seeing like these almost like hooks with threads on, like set of hooks, one hooking into the quad, the other like hooking into the ground with a thread in between, just like pulling down.
Okay, so great. Just see that. See that image of those hooks. It's really clear how it's anchoring you in place. In the brown. And just be with it. There's nothing for you to do. You're just observing. And as you observe those hooks from your quads into the grounds, you're curious, what happens next? Do you have a memory that arises, or is there an emotion that you notice, or meaning about the hooks, or a way your energy shifts or changes in your body, or another image that comes to mind? And think to yourself, first thought, best thought, and we'll just travel this together.
Well, it's like a feeling of wanting to run, but being held back. Like the hooks are like sticking me in place. And I it's like, like there's a forest like right in front of me that I'm like wanting to run into.
So it's a desire to run, a desire to flee and escape.
Yeah. Well, and it's almost two-sided. There's like this desire to run away, but also a desire to run into, towards something.
Into the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yes. So, what's keeping those hooks in place?
I think there's like feelings of guilt and shame about like just like not doing enough. Feels like there's anger there too. Probably at myself for not doing enough.
And that sense of not doing enough, and the shame that comes up with that, emotion, if you were to think in your life back and back and back and back, when's maybe the first time you felt that way? Just take your time. There's no rush.
Well, I can't get like the real detailed image of it, but what like came to mind and caused that surge of feeling and emotion was just some sort of image around me and my sisters being little kids, like 3, 6, 9, maybe, or something like that, and just being kids and playing, and like this feeling that my older sister was being a little too rough with my younger sister, maybe, and like I wasn't protecting her. And
So you were in between your two sisters, age-wise.
Yeah, I'm in between.
Yeah. And you're playing, the three of you are playing together.
Mm-hmm.
And your older sister's being mean.
Yeah.
And your younger sister feels bad.
Well, I don't know if she's feeling bad or just vulnerable or like in danger.
She's in danger.
Or I think she's in danger.
Okay.
Yeah,
you don't like it.
Yeah.
As you, Scott, see this little boy, little Scott, 7 maybe, with his sisters, you know how he feels kind of stuck in between. And he has the desire to stand up for the younger sister. What would you, Scott, as the man you are now, well, if you could walk into that little scene, how would you interact with him and the sisters? And you can imagine it in your mind's eye and just let it unplay, or you can take me with you. It's up to you. But again, just take your time.
Yeah. As I'm seeing myself walk into that room, and It's like, first, of course, like telling everyone to calm down and break it up. But, I'm seeing that, like, I can see the fear in my eyes. And sort of my younger sister's not quite sure what's going on. And, I feel like I would just get my older sister to calm down and explain what's going on with myself as a young self and my younger sister, and like what we're feeling and experiencing, and that it's not pleasant. And
yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. You walk in like a kind, compassionate authority that's protecting everyone, including your older sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because she's angry, and I don't know why.
You could ask her and sit and just listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not really. Well, hold on.
You may not be able to know.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to know, but you can still be loving.
Yeah.
And there and safe.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it definitely hurts and feels bad that she's so angry too. And I think, that, the younger Scott feels like he wants to be able to comfort her too, but certainly didn't know how then.
And it wasn't his job.
No.
So turn now to little Scott, and articulate that to him, that this, while he wants to help both of his sisters, it's not his job. He's doing his best. It's okay that he's scared or unsure.
Yeah.
And anything else you know would help him to hear.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Little Scott, with your little blonde towhead kid. Totally see how scared you were, and it's totally understandable. And you just didn't have the skills or the strength or the wherewithal or the emotion to be able to like help either sister, and it wasn't your job to help them either.
And you let him know you're there for him now, and you'll help him. You'll help him.
I will definitely help you. Definitely help you, little Scott.
How does he respond to that from you?
Well, he is basically is just run over and is hugging me, and I'm hugging him, and
so be right there. Be with that. Just feel him holding you, feeling yourself holding him. But like, if you can imagine the real tactile sensation of that, Just be with him, reassuring.
Mm-hmm.
You're right there. You're not going anywhere. You love him.
I love him so much.
And if there's anything while you're with him like this, you can invite him. If there's anything he wants to say to you, that you'll just listen. Anything at all.
Mm.
He may or may not, but
He's just thanking me. Thanking me for coming back. Helping him, saving him, loving him. So
yeah, you really affirm that with him, that you've got him.
Yeah, I do.
And with that, you can let him know that you did make it out of there.
Yeah.
And your life is different now. And you made it. And if he wants, he can come with you into your life now.
Mm-hmm.
Would he like that?
He would definitely like that. And he actually already is, but we can get into that later. But this part obviously was not.
So bring him, like any way that you imagine, carrying him or walking with him or flying with him, and just give him a tour of your life. This is all his too. And he belongs here.
Yeah, he would not be able to imagine.
Does he seem awestruck? Like, wow.
I'm still awestruck.
But really see it and just be like, I know, isn't this crazy? How wonderful my life is. How blessed.
Yep. Yeah, he is shaking his head in awe for sure.
So take some time with that, a little bit longer. And in your life now with him, while he's here, since he's here now, is there something he would like to do experience together with you? Just take your time.
Yeah.
You can just see it in your mind. You can just be with it.
No, it's, just he and I, but this is definitely coming from him, just wanting to show my sisters more love now. And
he wants to see his sisters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stay right here. Just be.
Yeah.
He loves both of them so much.
Yes. Yeah, he does. Man. So deeply. In the best way. I mean, these tears are hard, but they're all just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a melting of this emotion. Would he like to imagine it's his younger sisters he's with, or the sisters at this age now?
I think this age now, because the younger ones will still be there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how would he like that experience to be? Anything at all.
What do you mean? I'm not sure.
Like when he says he wants to be with his sisters, see his sisters now. What's the scenario? Could be anything.
Well, I actually have the opportunity, he and I have the opportunity to see my older sister in a couple weeks, actually.
Well,
And then my other sister beginning or the end of June.
Does he want to see all three of you together?
And
it could be, again, make-believe. It doesn't have to be in the realms of possibility.
I mean, ultimately, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine a scenario where you're with your two sisters and he's with you too. Anything at all. You're all together and you're not having to be the peacekeeper. You're just adults. And as you imagine it, whatever it is, imagine it with like 5 senses. What you'd see, what you'd hear, how it would feel physically, what you'd smell, maybe and taste. Just build it out for like a minute.
Well, I'm seeing us in mountains somewhere and just that like crisp mountain air smell and pine as well. And just feeling very relaxed. And then like I'm seeing those hooks in my legs just like releasing, like pinging out of my muscles. And we're not really saying anything necessarily, but there's just this, we're just kind of looking at each other with this knowing and feeling of love.
Beautiful. Just be there. All of you in that way together. The hook's gone. And as you're with that visualization experience, feel your body at the same time and also be in your body right now. What's happening now?
Just feeling, just really calm and relaxed, and just had this vision of like floating down a river through the mountains. My sisters are kind of still standing on the bank, sort of watching me float away, really, but they seem okay with that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sounds really calm.
Yeah.
And connected. Supportive. Freeing.
Yeah.
And joyful.
I'm definitely enjoying the river.
And so, looping back to how you started, you expressed for this year ahead your desire to bring joy back into your life more.
Yeah.
And it can be these quiet, simple ways, like floating down an alpine river, free from the weight of the world, free from the chaos of our collective.
Yeah.
Out there in the mountains, it's not that way.
At least momentarily. Yeah.
What's that?
Just feeling the joy, really. And the calmness that's with it. And that it's okay to feel, even with everything else happening.
You deserve this too. You deserve to feel this way. It's not selfish. Anything else right now that you're feeling, you're noticing in this moment?
Nothing, nothing else is bubbling up, just sort of that good sparkly feeling. Yeah. So.
And how's your chest and quads?
Very relaxed and released, I would say. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
yeah.
Amazing, Scott. You did so well. You did it. We did it.
Thank you, Marisa. Wow. Yeah, we did. Like I said at the beginning, I did not know where this was going to go and did not expect to go there. That was amazing.
To do the practice that we did in the beginning, which is orienting, where you look in your space. So just do that again. And drink some water, stretch, breathe deep.
That was a journey. Definitely a journey. No plant medicine required. Nope. Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's how I work with folks.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it. So what are you curious about? Was that similar or different than, I know you've had other therapeutic experiences.
Definitely unique in its own blend of things. I've definitely done other visualizations with other therapists, and they always end up taking you where you don't expect. What's really underneath the surface of, like, what I said at the beginning, like wanting to feel more joy, like what was preventing me from doing that. You think it's the outer world and all the chaos and hell that is there, which is definitely part of it. But, there's always something else going on underneath. So, like, certainly the way you got me into that place at the beginning there was unique and worked very well.
The sensation piece through the body?
The sensation, yeah. I mean, I can't even remember what it was now. What the first 10 minutes, however it was. It's amazing how you can't, like, it seems so right there when you're doing it.
Well, it is like an altered state. It is an altered state.
For sure.
And so for me, if I describe it for you, just going to the very beginning, even starting with that meditation, you're creating an internal resonance with yourself. And repeatedly, I'm suggesting to you to allow all parts of yourself to be present just as they are, without judging or fixing or wanting to change.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, I'm also doing it. I'm going into my internal resonance, and then we're creating a field, even through the screen, of like shared presence and shared resonance. And I bring into the heart. Thomas Hubel doesn't do that in his guidance, but I like to do that as the entryway.
Yeah, thumbs up on that.
The heart's wisdom and guidance. So it just kind of slows us down and opens up. And then, I gave you some options of where to begin, which is a trauma-informed approach. I'm not deciding for you. I'm going to let you decide.
Which I love. Yeah.
And then you just begin sharing. And so as I'm listening to you, I can feel and sense when something starts to activate.
Yeah.
And that's
something
where
catches.
Yeah. And that's where I paused you and asked you to just check into your physical body, which a lot of times most people have a hard time doing at first. They're confused about what sensation is. And so they need a little bit of nudging into actual sensation, where they'll talk about just more emotion, or they'll stay in story.
Yeah.
So I'm really asking about sensation, which you got to. Like, I feel tension in my chest and tension in my quads. And then you chose which of those to focus on. And then in somatic experiencing, they're called channels. Well, first I had you build out the sensation a little bit more, which you again did really well. And you had an image that was very archetypal and meaningful come through.
Tiffany will say everything, images, dreams. I'm very archetypal.
And so some people with these channels, some people tend to have stronger channels than others. Like, some people are really strong with imagery. Another channel is meaning. We make meaning about things very easily, or memory, or emotion, or energy, or behavior. And so I sort of gave you those options of like, what do you, as you're with the image, what comes up next? And you said, I feel like I want to like run into the woods.
Yeah.
Which is a flight response, an escape, fight, freeze.
Right. Yeah.
And then I helped you a little bit. I, as a therapist, there's always options. It's not one choice I'm going to make as to what to say or where to go, but I'm working with you and seeing what those options are. And this is where I have to just trust my intuition also of what comes through me. So it's this blend that's occurring all in real time. And so I said to you something like, what's keeping you hooked? And not able to move. And you said guilt and shame and those feelings. And then I asked you, when was the first time you remember feeling like that?
Yeah, bingo.
And that's what took us into your childhood memory and your sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for my job as a therapist is I'm just helping you track and guide. And what happens for most of us, we're very well versed in our own way of distracting. So it's like an activation occurs, a trigger occurs, an emotion comes up, a flight freeze response comes up, and we distract. It's like talk about something else, change location, get on our phones, talk to somebody, whatever. Push down, move on, plow through, go really fast over something. We can all do that very well.
Yes, we can. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we can. We have our very, very intact defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
So my job as your therapist or guide is to help you not do that and to keep going And so if you keep going, the lot, what's been frozen and stuck and not felt will be able to be felt and will have its own life cycle of expression. And on the other side of that, I feel like I want to say 100% of the time, if you can stay in this cycle and not distract out of the trauma or the wounds, you will always complete. You will always end like you ended, with feeling hopeful, calm, peaceful, clear, positive, grounded, relaxed. That always happens. But we don't know that when we have it. And many of us, very understandably, are afraid of being overwhelmed. Well, if I feel it, I'm going to get overwhelmed. It'll be too much for me. So there
was definitely a moment where I was like, it wanted to divert somewhere else, or I wanted to. And I was like, no, stay in it. It's fine. You'll be okay. And just like, I was doing a little self-talk there in the middle that I didn't get out at the time. But yeah, you're right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
So.
And then when we went into your childhood, that's where it's like flavors of IFS, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't name like protector and exile and things like that, but you interacting with your younger self in that way has it's flavors of that type of work.
For sure. Yeah. Also similar to like, if I know there's the sort of chair exercise in a therapist office where like
a Gestalt.
The Gestalt, where the person in the chair is someone you're wanting to deal with an issue with, and you're talking to them. So it's similar in a little way, but I was just doing it within myself, to myself.
Yeah. And what I'm curious about when I'm with somebody and they're in that deeper space of their own wounds, it's what didn't get to happen. What they needed
at that time. Yeah.
Like for your younger self, you felt all this weight of responsibility, and that really wasn't your job. What if mom or dad had come in and been like, knock it off? And right? You kind of had that role in that moment of what we call the competent protector. And many of us are missing that type of element in our childhood, where we did feel really unsafe, or just like we were taking on way more than was our responsibility as kids.
Yeah.
So you helped fill in that piece, and your younger self was so happy that you were there helping out.
Definitely.
That's how you kind of know it's the right piece that's occurring. And then this is the shadow integration. Bringing your inner child forward into your life, integrating them into the now.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting in that, I mentioned, I think during it that like, I have a relationship with my inner child, little child, whatever you want to call it, already. And like usually when I meditate, if I remember, I always try and check in with little self. I know some people are like, oh, that's so silly, whatever, little self, and they get embarrassed or something like that. But I'm like, no, it's there and it's fine and it's great. And we have a great relationship. But, apparently there were still parts that
and
still
it can be
needed
at
to
different
be.
ages.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. 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 This was definitely, I feel like definitely a different age than the one I see when I meditate. So,
so now you have him too. Like 7-year-old Scott is with you now.
Yeah, which is super cool. Yeah.
And then through the end of it, I like to inquire, when we're in touch with our inner child, particularly when as a kid we were feeling unsafe, like we couldn't be a kid, like we couldn't just, have that type of safe connection that is we often want. Checking in, like if they could have that now and you're with them now, what would they want?
Yeah.
How would they want to be met? And for you, it was in being with your sisters in that like safe, loving way, which was so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
it
shows
was.
such a depth of care.
You're going to make me cry again. What is awesome about doing something like this, to me, even though, it can be hard. And, there was a moment when I was crying that I'm like, am I really going to put this out there? But I am. That, again, it goes back to the thing of like, by doing this work with yourself, like, I know without question that I'm going to like show up better and be more present and be more loving the next time I see my sisters. But also like all the women in my life and all the people in my life, period. And, I don't know if they'll see it, but I know I'll feel it. And I think and know I will be able to show up in a better way. Because of like hanging out with little Scott today. So, show up in a better, more loving way. Yeah.
And the part of you that you felt as a boy, even of innately wanting to protect those that are vulnerable.
Yeah.
But as a little boy, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah.
Now, as a man, you can.
Yeah. Damn, you're good. You picked up on that.
I'm just listening. So that's a piece for you maybe for the future. Like it might come up where in some circumstance, something's happening that doesn't sit right with you.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel okay. That someone, something, the earth is being abused. And instead of being frozen, you're going to say no.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants you to do. So if in the moment, you have a moment where you want to stand up for something or someone, and part of you notice gets scared. Part of you notice gets like, oh.
Or just doesn't know what to do.
Doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm saying. So afraid. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Know that feeling comes from little Scott. Where he didn't know what to do.
Right.
So you turn towards him because you've made this beautiful connection with him, and you just affirm, like, I know it's scary and I know you don't know what to do. And it's okay that you don't know what to do.
Right.
I know what to do. And I have help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I don't know what to do, but let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah. Yeah.
There is a way through it. The key piece in that is to not invalidate his feelings of confusion.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you are unsure.
Yeah.
I understand why you're unsure right now.
Right. I understand why you don't know what to do. And
you don't have to know what to do.
It feels overwhelming. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can do it together.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here to figure it out.
I love that. Whew.
And maybe the more in this next year you can be in nature and find your joy, the easier it will be to know how and when to act.
Yeah.
Because you are needed in that way too.
Definitely. Anything else percolating over there?
No. I just feel so honored and so grateful that you trust me.
I'm grateful. Oh my God. That was amazing. I mean, I'm so grateful, but thank you. Yeah. That was incredible. So, yeah. Thank you for planting that seed a year ago.
We did it.
We did it.
It's just like that. It's
just like that. Yep.
I love the work personally because I don't feel like I'm in control. Like I don't go into it like I've got this agenda and we're going to do this. It's like my job is to just like listen and help hold and help weave.
Yeah.
And it puts me into a big flow present state where I'm just like, I'm just paying attention. I'm just really with you. And so it's actually quite enjoyable for me to offer that. It's not a burden. It's not hard. It's it's really fun and creative, actually.
Yeah, because you have no idea where it's going either. Like
no idea.
It's like own little story unraveling as you talk. So yeah. And I do really love that where it's like you're not like, certainly you have some choices and questions you ask and that sort of thing, but it's really up to the person you're talking to like make these decisions to go wherever it takes them. And I did a coaching program and that was very similar. And so I really appreciate that approach and you are very good at it.
Thanks. I love it. I really do.
Yeah. I can see why.
I really do. Oh. And I appreciate that it helps people, just on the other side, there is this sense of feeling better.
Always. Yeah. Yeah. Even though it can get hard in the moment as you're going through it. And this one wasn't, it was emotional, but it wasn't necessarily maybe like the hardest one that I've ever had, but that's fine. That's okay. But,
yes.
It's always, I just always, whether it's with anything like this, where you're going into kind of these altered states, like, it's always worth it on the other side. I can't think of one instance where it wasn't.
Yeah. And in my training too with somatic experiencing, they really helped me to understand it's just a little bit at a time. You don't have to do everything all at once. And even just like a little cycle or a couple little cycles in a session is totally enough.
Yeah.
To expand every little bit. Your capacity. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Marisa. This was an incredible episode. I, again, had no idea where I was getting myself into, where we were going. And I am so glad now that I'm on the other side of it. Whew.
Yes.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you again. And people, best place is your website that people can find you, or Instagram, or what do you
Instagram. I'm active. I have a love-hate relationship with, but that's the platform I use versus the other platforms. Yeah. So Instagram, Marisa Radha Weppner. My website's the same, Marisa Radha Weppner. This is the work that I do with people in addition to teaching classes. And then I've got a retreat that I've got coming up in the summer that I'm really excited about this August, called Our Sacred Mother. It's a trip to Mexico with Tonantzin, which is, it's a relationship I've been building with her since 2008, going to the Basilica in Mexico City and working Teotihuacan.
Wow.
And I haven't been there since 2022. So it's been a number of years. And I was in a church in Paris this past summer with a friend. And long story short, I got a very direct, clear message from her in this church of the Immaculate Medal that I needed to come back and I was going to lead this retreat. She wanted me to bring people to see her.
Oh, damn.
So it's just
that's exciting.
Following the instructions of the Divine Feminine. And I have never had an experience like this before or since, but I'm just I'm trusting okay, I'll put this together. I'll bring people. We'll come see you.
Wow.
And we're going to the Basilica and Teo and Frida Kahlo's house, Casa Azul, and then these really sacred geothermal caves called Tolantongo, which is like the earth womb as water cave, where I had an experience with a very alive experience with Guadalupe also there.
Damn.
So it's a
and
small
that's on
group.
your website as well?
Yeah, it's on my website.
Okay. And it's a small group. So if that intrigues you, get over there and get in on it now.
There's going to be like maybe 15 of us, and I've got 10 of us already.
Okay. Only
so
a few spots, people.
Yeah. But it's going to be real special. Really, 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 really special.
Sounds incredible. Yeah. Is it women only or is it? No. Okay.
No, cool. It's open to anybody. Right. So there's a man already, or somebody who identifies as a man, and then the rest are women. Yeah. So it's open to anybody.
Cool.
Even though it's a divine mother.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we do. Exactly. We do.
She's the mother of us all.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, everyone, obviously you can tell from this session that Radha is amazing. So, go find her, go follow her. And, we'll have to figure out something to do a year from now. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's let that percolate.
Yeah. We can have a yearly check-in.
Yeah, I love that. Right. Cool.
Okay.
All right, Radha.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.